All right, I didn't expect this. I honestly thought the GL200 was going to feel like a small step up from the GL100, maybe a bit more storage, maybe a couple more extra conveniences thrown in, nothing that I would really consider would change the way I approach my looping. But by the end of my first 2 weeks with both units side by side, there was one feature on the GL200 that completely changed my mind and my workflow. The worst part is I didn't even realize I needed it until I tried it. I'll tell you exactly what that feature is, as well as all the cool things that I like about this pedal right after this. Today we're comparing the Mooer GL100 and the newer GL200, which are two compact drum loopers that might look similar but actually feel very different once you start using them. Now, I've spent the last couple of weeks looping, writing, testing drum patterns, and to be honest, I probably annoyed my family more than usual during that period, all to figure out if the GL200 is genuinely worth upgrading to. And today, I'm going to give you my thoughts on all that. Now, the GL100 is simple, it's compact, and it's extremely easy to use. If you've tried one, you know what I'm talking about. It shines as a quick idea capture tool. A little while ago, I had one of those late night moments where it was almost midnight or maybe a little past midnight. The whole house was quiet and suddenly a riff pops into my head that I know I'm gonna forget by morning because that's what always happens. So I quietly grabbed the GL100, I popped on my headphones, selected a drum groove, looped the chords, added the melody, and boom, the idea was saved without waking anyone up. That is what the GL100 is great for, in my opinion. You get 100 memory slots, 300 minutes of loop time, 220 great drum grooves across 11 styles, all that great stuff in a very compact, streamlined little unit, which is easy to use. So I really liked that particular unit. If you just want to jam or practice or quickly record ideas, the GL100 still does a fantastic job. But here's the thing, once you plug into the GL200, you realize it's built for much more. First, there's the memory. Now, the GL100 gave you 300 minutes of loop time. This one gives you 800 minutes. That is a substantial upgrade in terms of how much you can store. If you're into multi-section looping or perhaps multi-set lists, that kind of thing, that extra space becomes a huge advantage in my opinion. Next is the drum library that's built into it. The GL200 offers more refined drums, I think. The set of patterns, the transitions, everything feels smoother and more polished. The GL200, you can load custom drum kits right into it. Your very own MIDI drum patterns, entire style banks if you want. This turns the GL200 into a customizable rhythm workstation rather than just a preset-only device. While the looping options stay familiar and powerful, you still get the time stretch, the tap tempo, all that functionality that allows you to quantize your loops, the auto record function, which is great, undo, redo, all that stuff is still in the GL200, so it's very familiar, but it definitely expands on the GL100 without changing what's already working well. Now, earlier I mentioned there was one feature that completely changed the way I use a looper. So here it is. It is the XLR combo input with phantom power on the side of this unit. This was a very pleasant surprise. The moment I plugged a vocal microphone into the GL200 while still running my guitar into the input in the back of it, the pedal instantly became a compact performance hub. No need for a mixer, no audio interface, no extra gear, just one box handling both guitar and vocals cleanly. And that leads us to the second major upgrade in my opinion. The addition of MIDI ins and MIDI outs. The GL100 didn't have any MIDI at all, but the GL200 lets you do a lot of cool things with MIDI. You can sync tempos with other pedals. You can lock loops and drums to external clocks if you wish. You can trigger pattern changes. You can integrate with a DAW. You can create multi-device looping setups that stay perfectly in time. I tested it with another MIDI device and everything stayed locked in place without drifting, which is a big deal if you've ever dealt with messy timing. In a minute, we're going to be building a simple loop so I can show you how this thing works. But first, I want to talk about a few features that you really should know about. There's a few highlight features that add more flexibility, and that is things like drum match. This helps you quickly pair your loop's tempo and your feel with a drum pattern. So instead of having to scroll through a bunch of patterns trying to find the right one, the pedal suggests beats that fit with your set. You can still choose to manually override, but it speeds up the workflow. Now there's also Bluetooth audio built into this, and today who can live without Bluetooth? This allows you to stream audio from your phone or your tablet directly to the GL200, so it's perfect for backing tracks, practicing with songs, playing along without extra cables. It basically turns the GL200 into an all-in-one practice station. And one of my favorite functions is the drum out. Drum out lets you send the drum track to a separate output, independent from your guitar or your loop mix. So on stage, this means that the sound engineer can control drum levels and EQ separately, which basically makes your entire performance sound cleaner and more balanced. Now these options push the GL200 well beyond a typical looper territory or functionality, in my opinion. Okay, let's have a little bit of fun. We're going to record a rhythm track. So I've selected an empty slot. I've already pre-chosen the drum beat that I want to use, and I'm going to lay over a rhythm track just by hitting the play button. All right, now we can loop over our lead part. So the really cool thing about this unit is it's great for developing new ideas, but it's also great for practicing if all you want to do is play along with the drums. You can use this as a metronome or as a fill-in drummer. Now, if we talk about software, both units do have software support, but with very, very different capabilities. So the GL100 software allows you to import and export loops, manage memory slots, and update firmware, back up your ideas, that kind of thing. It's simple, it's effective, it works, but it's pretty basic. The GL200 software does a little bit more. It allows you to import custom drum kits and MIDI patterns. You can create your own style banks, manage all 800 minutes of the loops that you have stored in the unit. You can back up complete performances so you never lose your performances or set lists. And of course, you can configure your MIDI behavior. You can update your firmware and you could play around with some advanced settings. So this software turns the GL200 into a fully customizable performance system. So this leads us to the million-dollar question. Who should upgrade and should you upgrade? So here's my honest breakdown. If you mostly jam at home and you want a simple idea capture tool, and you don't need vocals or MIDI, I would say stick with the GL100. You're fine with the built-in drum patterns, I think. They're substantial. You can do a lot with that unit. It's pretty much the most straightforward setup. So if you don't want anything complicated, that's the road to go down. If, on the other hand, you perform live and you do loop with vocals, then the GL200 is a must. You can't really do any of that with the previous version. Now, especially if you need MIDI sync functionality, if you want Bluetooth backing tracks, and you want to be able to import your own drum kits and grooves and all that great stuff like that, you're going to need more than the GL100. So I would say definitely look at this unit. You're basically going to get one pedal that will anchor your entire setup. So if you're a creator or you're a performer, the GL200 is a substantial step forward. So in a nutshell, if you love the simplicity of the GL100, then keep it. It still does an excellent job. But if you want more connectivity, more storage, a vocal input, MIDI control, all that great customizable stuff, then the GL200 is the obvious choice, and I think it's absolutely worth the upgrade. For me, the GL100 stays on my desk most of the time for those late night ideas, but the GL200, this one's coming with me to the gigs. So thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. We'll be back.